What's up, YouTube? What's up, boxing fans? YTBC. This is Perfect P234 coming at you. I'm going to try to touch a couple of issues on this here video. Quintinball, bloodboxing, dstyle boxing, Carcino. It's getting a little ridiculous. Andre Ward is the man. Floyd Mayweather is the man. On my list, I have Floyd number 1 pound for pound. And, many people have Ward number 1 pound for pound. And there's an argument for it. Okay? People getting upset about people having Ward as number 1. You really shouldn't be upset about it. And just think about where they're coming from, what their list is based off of. Is it based off of pure talent? If it's based off of pure talent, then, that's another argument. But I think some people get angry about it because there seems to be a disconnect with the consistency. Okay, there's some inconsistencies there when you're weighing it up. Okay, Andre Ward fought one time in, last year? He fought Chad Dawson, who at the time was ranked number 10 pound for pound according to BoxRec. Remember when I was looking up Dawson's record and stuff, I saw that he was number 10 after beating B-Hop. And then Ward dismantled him. Granted, he dismantled him at a lower weight class, but Ward wanted to defend his titles, and he was called out. So the whole catchweight thing, I don't consider that a catchweight because it happened at an official weight. Okay, whether the guy had to come down to make the fight or whether he had to go up to make the fight, that's a different situation. In a way, there's some give and take because if, say, a guy moves up in weight and conquers a guy that's above him, it's more credit to him. If he goes up in weight and loses, then, it's not as bad of a loss. So with the Dawson Ward thing, there's some give and some take there. He was scheduled to fight Pavlik, but that didn't go through. So, the whole activity argument is debunked because Floyd had a fight in May. He fought Cotto. Cotto was ranked pretty high. I can't remember what he was ranked at, though. And he won Fighter of the Year off of that, but that could be just because of popularity. Okay, then he had the jail stint and didn't fight for the rest of the year. Okay, so him and Ward had the same number of fights for that year. Okay, and when Ward beat Froch, he was in the top 5 pound for pound. I think it was something like, Floyd, Vitali. He was in the top 5, but he wasn't number 3, or I think Sergio Martinez was there, something like that. But but after the Dawson fight, we moved him up to number 2. Oh, excuse me. And rightfully so. I mean, he completely shut him out. So, there was, but, there's a whole, so, okay, you have this argument. Floyd hasn't been active enough recently, okay? Well, he just fought Miguel Cotto, and he just fought Robert Guerrero. And, if he retires today, he had more fights than Ward had this year. So, and if you were to, say, pit Robert Guerrero up against any of the guys at 147, any of the top guys, let's say Juan Manuel Marquez, who was number 3 pound for pound, that would be a competitive fight, and the Ghost could possibly win that fight. Okay? Keep in mind that Juan Manuel Marquez is a fighter that Floyd already beat in dominant fashion. He beat him. He shut him out in a way that Ward shut out Dawson, except that he didn't knock him out. and that's pretty well documented. So that kind of seems like it's old. It's getting old. Talking about him beating guys like excuse me, Juan Manuel Marquez, and then right after that beating Shane Mosley, coming off his biggest win, and after that taking on a young, hungry lion and Victor Ortiz, and then taking on a tough Miguel Cotto at a higher weight and having one of his toughest fights of his career, and then coming off of that and a year layoff, and then blowing out Robert the Ghost Guerrero, and then accepting a challenge against Canelo Alvarez. Now, Ward is accepting these challenges that are brought to him as well. He's willing to fight Kelly Pavlik. He's willing to fight, he's willing to fight Carl Froch again, just under, not on Carl Froch's terms, but on his terms. He's willing to fight, a multitude of guys in and around his weight class. Chavez Jr., who for most of the YTBC has been saying for years, he does not belong at 160. So I don't know why people are complaining that he's, calling out a guy who should be fighting at least 175 anyway. Now, he probably doesn't have the skills to compete there, and he's most likely going to lose a fight against Ward. And he's coming off of a loss, so it's not going to do too much to help Ward's resume to keep him, either number 1 or number 2. Because Marquez is number 3 right now, but if Marquez beats Bradley, he has the ability to go above Ward. He knocked Pacquiao out, and Bradley's a top contender, and Ward hasn't had a fight this year. So my problem is it seems a little illogical. Like complain about the time frame of when Floyd is fighting, but we kind of ignore the time frame when Ward is fighting because of his injuries. Because we feel like he has a legitimate argument. Okay, Floyd Mayweather retired. For whatever reason, he didn't fight in the year that he retired. Andre Ward, for whatever reason, hasn't had a fight yet this year. Okay, and then the opponents that he selected to fight were not the type of opponents that would keep him at the number 2 spot based off of how you guys, or number 1 spot based off of how you guys are ranking him. If he was to fight Kelly Pavlik, okay, where's Kelly Pavlik ranked at? If he were to fight Chavez Jr., where's Chavez Jr. ranked at? He was considered by many to be a paper champion, and he's coming off of a comprehensive beatdown loss. Now, again, I don't mind. I don't care if Ward fights them. I would like to see those fights. And in my opinion, if he did fight Chavez and he fought somebody else, he could stay at number 2. It's not a problem for me. But a lot of you guys are a little fickle with your list. You're willing to change them willy nilly, and I'm trying to understand like what goes into it. I mean, Joker Boxing, he spelled out what his criteria was for pound. dstyle spelled out what his criteria was for pound. He's like, look, they ain't a whole top 10. This is dstyle. He's like, there's like maybe 2, maybe 3. Sometimes even only 1, okay? And they don't have to necessarily be in a particular order. But yeah, the Ward hate needs to stop, okay? Because the same hatred that you could bring to Ward, you could bring to Floyd, you could bring to anybody else. You see, that's the problem with boxing. It's not like it's not like basketball where you could just quantify stats and the stats speak for themselves. The records. There's all of these subjective things. Oh, well, Mosley look old. Well, Mosley's coming up. How did Mosley look before the fight? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. In hindsight, it's 2020, so we know in hindsight. It's okay. All right, so Floyd beat Marquez. Oh, Marquez was too small. Well, that's pre-sight. How was he too small? There's too much BS. So we need to just, look. You had a catchweight fight. You had a catchweight fight. Someone agreed to whatever. That's how the fight happened. It's whatever, okay? Whether or not, how much points you get for it, you still won. Pacquiao still beat Margarito. He beat a number of guys coming off of losses, but, you know, still beat him. The time frame thing, it's just a stupid argument. I'm not saying that you're stupid, Quentin. I'm not saying Blood's stupid. It's just a bad argument because they're definitely at different stages in their careers. They're 8 years apart as far as start time. You cannot honestly expect 36-year-old Floyd to fight the same amount of times that you would expect a 30-year-old Ward to fight or 29-year-old Ward to fight. Like, Ward was probably slated to fight 3, maybe 4 times this year. You know, Pavlik, maybe a Chavez, maybe a Frotch rematch. I mean, he could have did that, and he could have secured, you know, further cemented his legacy. Sorry, man. Just coming off eating. Which is a bad argument. I didn't want to get involved in it. I was thinking about it. It's just a bad argument. So just let it go, guys. But yeah, the Ward hate needs to stop. And there is a legitimate argument for him to be number one. And there is I think a more legitimate argument for Floyd to be number one. But it's not inconceivable to see Ward surpassing Floyd. Like, say if this Canelo fight doesn't happen or something, and then Ward fights a couple of big name guys or something, you know. I mean, keep in mind he's stayed in the same weight class this whole career, 68. He hasn't really deviated from that weight class. Okay, even though we feel that he could beat anybody in 68 and most of the guys at 65, it's yet to be seen. We still feel that Floyd could beat any of the guys from 140, 147. And 54, most of them, but we still need to see those fights. We still want to see those fights. You know, a guy like Costa Tszyu, his style is a guy like Zab Judah is supposed to beat that style. So it's not just, you know, it's not that cut and dry. So on that note, I'm gonna end it here. Sponsor all you guys, big up to all you guys. And keep the YTBC running. Peace out.